Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Café Politique on Understanding the North, presented by the Manitoba Institute for Policy Research at the University of Manitoba. I'm Andrea Rounds, an assistant professor in the University of Manitoba's Department of Political Studies, and I'll be introducing the series of talks, the session tonight, and our panelists for this evening. So, as you all know, we now officially have an election campaign underway in the province of Manitoba, and the build-up to the election is always an exciting time for those of us who study politics and elections. But surprisingly, not everyone feels this way about politics. Civic engagement in Manitoba has reached a post-war low, with just over half of eligible voters casting ballots in the provincial election in 2007. Surveys indicate that many non-voters feel like the political system doesn't include them, or they have other priorities on election day. Approximately 60% of those who don't vote report not having enough knowledge about the political process in order to cast a meaningful ballot. This series of nonpartisan community discussions is designed to help address this reality. We've spent the last 8 months busting some myths about political participation in elections. We've asked if women are involved in politics as much as men, whether or not young people don't vote because they're lazy, and how the electoral boundaries that have changed since the last provincial election might matter for the upcoming election. Tonight we'll be asking how politics in the north of the province might be different from politics in the south. We have 3 distinguished panelists with us, all of whom have written extensively about the North in elections and in other times. So in terms of ground rules for tonight, each of our speakers will take about 10 minutes to talk, but we'll have a more informal conversation, I think, tonight as well. After the speakers have finished their remarks, we'll have lots of time for questions and comments from audience members. And I'd like to remind everyone that these sessions are nonpartisan and that our speakers don't represent any political party. If you'd like any more information about political parties and their platforms, links to some of that information is available on our website. Now, the speakers' remarks tonight will be recorded, and those recordings will be available on our website at umanitoba.ca/U2011. This way you can revisit what the panelists had to say, and you can also recommend it to your friends, family, and others who might be interested in learning more about Manitoba politics. So I'd like to just take a few moments to introduce our 3 speakers, and I'm going to introduce them in the order that they'll be speaking tonight. So I'm going to start with Peter Kolczynski, who is from Bissett, Manitoba, my apologies, and as a non-native attended the government-run residential high school Frontier Collegiate in Cranberry Portage, Manitoba. He studied politics at the University of Winnipeg and York University in Toronto. He has been teaching Native Studies since 1988 at the University of Saskatchewan, at Trent University, and now the University of Manitoba, where he is a full professor. He has written or edited 6 books and numerous scholarly and popular articles on Indigenous cultural politics, and he has won numerous awards for his writing and teaching in the field. Greg Peltzer is the director of the International Center for Northern Governance and Development at the University of Saskatchewan and is an associate professor of political studies and associate member of the School of Public Policy and the School of the Environment and Sustainability. He has just completed a 5-year term as the inaugural Dean of Undergraduate Studies at the University of the Arctic, a consortium of 110 universities, colleges, Indigenous organizations, and NGOs. He also leads the University of the Arctic's International Northern Governance Thematic Network, a research group consisting of 22 member organizations from 7 Arctic states. His research focuses on comparative politics and policy as it relates to northern regions and to Aboriginal state relations. His most recent publication, which he co-authored, is the book Arctic Front, Defending Canada in the Far North. Off campus, Greg Peltzer can be found canoeing in the many lakes and rivers of Saskatchewan, or hunting with his large Munsterlander Gus for Saskatchewan's finest game birds. And I'll end, last but not least, with Benita Beebe, who is a member of the Peter Valentine Cree Nation in northern Saskatchewan. She is an assistant professor in the Department of Native Studies at the University of Saskatchewan. She is a doctorate in political science from the University of Alberta, specializing in First Nations governance and community development. She was a former executive director of health and social development for the Federation of Saskatchewan Indians, a research associate with Family Medicine, College of Medicine at the University of Saskatchewan, and the executive director of Peter Valentine Cree Nation Health Services, and its director of community development. She was also a senior policy analyst with the provincial government, Saskatchewan Indian and Métis Affairs Secretariat in the early 1990s. So now you know all of our speakers tonight, and I'd like to turn it over to to Peter to start with. Thank you.